There's optimism that Mitchell Robinson can return from his ankle surgery late in the regular season. So the NBA has denied the Knicks a $7.8 million disabled player exception for Mitchell Robinson and the Knicks. So as Knicks fans, we're going crazy if Mitchell Robinson can come back, especially
Yeah.
with the way we look right now.
Are you
What do
really
you
going?
think? Yeah. What do you mean? You're asking me, are we really going crazy?
Yeah. I'm not high on Mitchell Robinson, so it's funny that that's your feelings on it. I feel like Mitchell Robinson has hands of stone, man. I'm not big on him. Honestly, I feel like with Hartenstein in there, what you're seeing is somebody who has better hands, being able to finish around the rim, which Mitchell Robinson seems like you got to throw it to him underhand for him to be able to catch the ball. And I think part of the reason the Knicks have looked so good, even before the 5-game winning streak, since the injury, is the paint isn't clogged with Mitchell Robinson just occupying space. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you bring him back, and your defense gets better in the paint. Maybe not in the pick and roll, but I'm not really big on Mitchell Robinson, honestly.
I totally agree. I think there's like the chemistry right now, like they even entertaining. We did a Pascal Siakam episode, it's probably coming out in a couple minutes. Totally agree. All ball, shout out to all ball. He said the same thing you did about Mitchell Robinson. The changes that took place for us to look like this and feel like this as a Knicks fan, right? The number one is Julius Randle. This is not the same guy from 2 years ago. He's a totally different player. He acknowledged it. He said in the summertime it wasn't for his surgery. He's watching tape of himself, and he never watched tape of himself, which is already disgusting me. But
Yeah.
I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we're here.
Okay.
He's the first change though, because without him, he's gonna have the ball in his hands a lot, and this doesn't happen without him. Of course, you add OG, that's obvious, and Brunson. These things do help in passing the ball, but remember, Randall and Brunson are ball stoppers. The last one, like you said, Isaiah Hartenstein, he could be at the top of the key. He looks for the pass, but he can take a little dribble and get to the paint. Mitchell
Mm-hmm.
Robinson ain't doing that.
No, no,
Mitchell Robinson is not doing that. And he makes up for his rebounding. So the other thing, but why I am excited is we're out here on the trade market. We are looking for a backup center. We're looking for a backup point guard. Well, we could fulfill half of the what we're looking for with Mitchell Robinson coming back. I don't want to rush him, but coming off the bench, why not? We have every excuse to now. Like, remember, if you're a ball player, you get mad sensitive. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you ain't got your starting job back. Nah, you can massage him. Yo, listen, man, you coming back from injury, Mitch. Slow down.
right. Well,
Come off the bench.
yeah, pause. But what I want to say is, a month ago, I was advocating with my guys. I'm like, the Knicks really should be taking a hard look at Andre Drummond. He wasn't even starting at that point, right? He was coming off the bench, and he was giving you double doubles in 20 minutes, 15 minutes off the bench. Now, obviously, last couple of weeks they put Drummond in the starting lineup. He's going crazy. His trade value is going high. The price, yesterday's price, is not today's price, right? But Drummond would be a great fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what it is about him, why his like NBA value is so low. Like, for his talent level and how people view him, it doesn't align. You know what I'm saying? But Drummond, I think that's the piece that the Knicks should go after if you're going to go for a big. You know?
I thought Drummond, if there was to fulfill our needs at a cheap price, you go talk to the Wizards and get Tyus Jones and Gafford and talk about that and explore it. Because at the end of the day, I don't like Brunson playing all these minutes. The way he plays, he goes full throttle. Even on defense, he's not a great defender, but to stand there and take those charges,
Yeah.
remember, he's gonna do that. It's not That's his trend. That's who he is. He may not play one-on-one lockdown defense, but he's gonna stop in the middle of transition and get ran over by whoever. He's reckless like that, and I love that. But come on, man, we gotta put two and two together. We got to back up point guard, spell him some minutes. The other night, the biggest stat, Brunson was 1 for 7 from the field, 13 points. I didn't care about that. He played 25 minutes. Love it.
Right.
How can we afford to get Brunson less minutes? And you get it with Tyus Jones on like a 1 year deal left. Gafford has like a 2 year deal left. Very cheap. Very cheap.
Yeah. What I always wonder about in terms of how GMs approach it is, when you look at your personnel and you're getting these backups, do you try to acquire players that have the same play styles as your starters so that your offense has continuity, or do you give them a completely different look? So you got a lightning and thunder where it's like, all right, we got a speed guy and he's pass first versus somebody who's a scoring first guard. Like it, it gives you a chance to add some complexity to your roster based on these choices. But I don't know if you ever see the backups really have prominent roles in any organization where you have a ball dominant guard. You know what I'm saying? Like the backups get lost in the shuffle. You know what I mean?
Tyus Jones normally doesn't though. Like the way he did in Memphis is amazing. Like John Moran sat down and they won like 10 straight games without him, and he had something to do with that. We saw this year without him.
Yeah, he did. But you talking about Ja sitting, right? And Ja was out because of the bang bang the gun stuff, right? But I'm talking when healthy, right? Like backing up a Russell Westbrook, backing up James Harden, guys that dominated the ball. You getting those minutes. So now their backup, they're gonna either play combo guard and have to play with them, or they're gonna come in these release spots. You end up not being able to really showcase, or be a good fit because the team is so reliant on like let me ask you this. Who's the player you bring in Tyus Jones that's in your mind that's going to cut down Jalen Brunson's minutes? If that's like,
And no, I think you could get similar minutes, if not, 2 or 3 minutes less by just having somebody who can control the ball. Right now, it's Randall and Brunson playing with the second unit, and it was never that. Going, we'll transition later to the RJ Barrett thing, but RJ Barrett used to play with the second unit a lot. That's how I knew he was just a role player, and he was okay. So with the second unit, he was, don't get me wrong, he had these 50-point explosion games, but he also had these 10-point games, over 20 games. So we don't, at the end of the day, though, RJ Barrett still played with the second unit. We didn't have Brunson doing that and Randall doing that. And now that second quarter against Portland, yeah, we thrashed them, but I could tell they were exhausted. I could tell. I'm watching it. So I'm trying to, this is cool and all, guys, but I'm looking at the playoffs. Regular season is the practice for the playoffs, and we have a great team. We have a great enough team, in my opinion, right now. This chemistry, if it keeps up, we put pressure on everybody in the East. I don't care who you are right now. You couldn't say that a week ago or before the OG trade. Couldn't. Not with RJ.
I mean, I hear you. I respect your take. I feel a little differently about the RJ situation, but I think any person, any player that is in that dynamic where they're clearly the third option, right? At best, I think that it's a struggle when you got two guys on offense that are black holes. Jalen Brunson, as much of a dog as he is, and as competitive as he is on both ends of the court, he's not really a good point guard. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a scorer, which is why he did so well in Dallas playing with Luka.
Hold on. You say that. Have you watched in the last couple games?
Okay, listen. We talking about a 5-game sample size?
Yes, 1,000%.
Versus a season and a half. Or if you go back versus the last 3 seasons. Because again, you could go back to when he was with Dallas and why he fit so well with Luka. He can score. He's not really a facilitator like that. He's not a great floor general in that way. And I'm not going to compare him to like a Halliburton. He's just not a great point guard in that sense. He's
right.
And so when you're playing with a guy like that, and then the next guy is Julius Randle, who's a black hole driving left. Like if you're the third piece, how are you going to find your shots? I think putting him with the second unit, I looked at that as more aligned with putting Ginobili with the second unit. You know what I'm saying? Putting Tyler Hero with the second unit. It's like, look, you're going to go in with these guys and you clearly become the guy in this lineup and we can run the offense through you, Now, he might still very well be a role player, but I say RJ ceiling is probably higher than that,
But I think it goes back to the point that you were making about adding a backup point guard, which was a great point, because now I'm thinking about they're a different team. RJ Barrett is part of the reason why we don't, addition by subtraction. Now we look like this, but also, like you said, we look like a different team. If Mitchell Robinson comes back and tries to jump in the starting lineup, that's a different team. Yeah, you affect the play style. We gotta adapt to you because he is dominating in that way, where he's not just the offensive rebound, he has a dominating characteristic to him, but you're it's not necessarily a great thing to dominate in that way either. Because in
No,
this era, you gotta move around.
right. Yeah, you talking about him as a non-shooter. You throw off the floor spacing. You're gonna now make it harder for people to be able to drive. Yeah, depending on where you positioning him for the cuts to be there. It's just the offense is not gonna look the same. And I don't know if the defense outweighs it. You know what I mean? Like Mitch Robinson, I feel like you put him with the second unit and you allow the second unit to be a defensive force and allow your starters to get their minutes like that, in terms of rest, rather than trying to figure out the offense around this guy and you playing handicapped every night.